Hey guys, today we are back with the third video in the blade testing series, and today's test subject is the 1970s 12-inch Super with the blue blades. Now originally I wanted to do this video with my 1968 16-inch Super oscillating fan, but it turns out that the motor shaft diameter is larger than the hole diameter in these blades. So I couldn't do it with the 16-inch Super, so I tried to do it with the next closest thing, which was the Solar Ray 16-inch oscillating fan, but that too also had that larger shaft diameter, so that didn't work. So I went to the second closest fan to the 16-inch Super, and it was the 12-inch Super, which I know for sure does have the correct diameter for the blades. So unfortunately I can't do it with the Super here, but we'll go with this Super, which should be, also pretty interesting. Now this fan does have a much more powerful motor than either of the two fans that I tested before, so we'll see how this goes. So we have these 5 blades here, same ones as before, and we're going to test 3 things this time. I'm going to check the current draw with a clamp meter there. We're going to test the airflow, and this time we're going to test the noise level to see how it varies between these 5 blades. Well, the 6 blades, because we're going to do the original too. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so we're going to start off with the original blades, which are far more rigid than all 5 of these. And also check out the blade pitch on this. It's quite impressive, these 70s fans. Alright, so let's turn on the amp meter there, let it settle. We'll start it up on high. We're gonna do high on all speeds, or all blades, for the sake of consistency. Very powerful fan, especially without the grills. Very quiet too. We are drawing 0.32 amps. I believe this fan is rated for 0.35. Let me double check. Correction, I just checked the current rating, and this fan is rated for 0.37 amps. So it's drawing a bit less. And to measure the airspeed, I've got the 5-foot distance marked with the tripod, and we're just going to rest the anemometer on top of it so we can get a consistent reading for all of the blades. And it looks like we are getting about, let's go with 2.1 meters per second for the original blades. And for the sound level test, I've got my phone here with decibel app kind of lined up with the edge of the table and off to the side, so it's not affected by the wind sound, which may hit the microphone and disturb our readings. So let's go ahead and see how the readings stabilize. Very quiet blades. Let's go with 14 decibels for the original blades. Next up, we've got the blade that's the most similar to the original, the 12-inch blue blades, but this one is different plastic material, so a little bit more flimsy, and the shade of blue is not as vibrant as the original. As you can see, it's huge difference. This one's so washed out and very plain. Now, it was kind of tricky mounting the blades because the spinner nut for this fan is kind of the inverse of what you typically see on modern fans. So instead of having a female thread on the cap that threads onto the shaft, it's the opposite. So there's a female thread on the shaft, and the cap is essentially a screw that threads into the shaft. So I had to kind of add this chunks of tissue to kind of prevent the blades from rattling, because even if I crank this out all the way, there'd be a little bit of space and the blades would kind of shake around and make a racket. So this should work. So let's go and start it up. Full power. And that got up to speed real quick. We are pulling, wow, only 0.29 amps. Let's check out the blade pitch on this one. It's not bad, actually. I think the biggest contributor to the lower current draw and faster startup is the weight. It's just so much lighter. So there's less load. Alright, so same procedure. I've got the anemometer here, sit on top of the tripod. Holding it steady, I've got a reading of... let's go with 2.2 meters per second, I think. I think that's a good average reading for that. So I think that's actually higher than the original, which is very surprising. So of course we're doing the same thing for the sound level. Just got the app here. Let's go with 16 decibels, so it's definitely a bit louder, but it's still a very soothing sound, and honestly I wouldn't really say this is annoyingly louder. It's just kind of taken up a notch just a little bit from the original. Yeah, these blades are really good actually. I'm impressed. Alright, next one. Next up is this 9-bladed 12-inch blade set. So same size, different blade count, and much shallower blade pitch. So let's see how this goes. Now check this out. The original spinner nut fits beautifully, perfectly inside of the hub. The recessed hub in this blade. It's as if it was made for it. Alright, so full speed. Same thing. Oh wow. I got up to speed real quick. Definitely the fastest out of the 3 I tested so far. But surprisingly, it's drawing the same as the other blue blades. 0.29 amps. It's definitely louder, that's for sure. Let me grab the anemometer here, back up to the 5 feet marker here. Wow. This is impressive. .9 meters per second. That's just about as powerful as the original blades. But I definitely know where this fan's weakness is. Let's go with 29 decibels. This is a loud blade set. And it's kind of flapping around too. You see how the edge there is kind of waving around? That tells me that the blade set is so flimsy that just the motion of the blades going around is causing it to kind of warp as it's spinning, so it's kind of wobbling. Oops. Alright, cool, so let's go with the 4th blade now. We're now moving up in size. I've got the 14-inch 5-bladed blade set mounted on the fan, and check this out. This is the original spinner nut for the blue blades there, and it just fits this one perfectly. It looks almost factory. Alright, start it up. This thing's powerful. Okay, so definitely the highest out of the blades we've tested so far at 0.34 amps. But it's still drawing below what the motor's rated at, which is 0.37. Let's grab the anemometer here, doing the same thing of course. Wow. Well, I thought the number was going up for a bit. Maybe not. Let's go with 2.3 meters per second. So this motor, it shows that this motor really can handle more load than what the original blade gives the motor in terms of like just the load and the amount of air resistance it has. So this motor is, in a way, a little bit overpowered for those original blades. It can definitely handle a larger blade set. Here's the sound. So 16 decibels. It's impressively quiet. Not as quiet as the original, but it's pretty close. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind using this blade on this fan because it's moving, I think, more air than the original, yet it's only a tad bit louder, and the sound isn't very annoying either. Usually when you go up in blade count, this one has 5 blades instead of the original, which has 3, you get a bit more of a buzzy sound that can be annoying, but this one's actually not bad. In some ways, it's kind of a soothing sound. Alright, so let's go to the 2 last blades now. Okay, so we have the 14-inch 9-bladed fan blade here. My personal favorite out of the 5 blades that I bought. Just kind of has a very fierce look to it. Okay. You know, when I did the 2 other blade test videos, I kind of expected that all fans would kind of behave the same way with the blades, but it's not the case. It varies quite a bit. Even the way the sound varies, it's pretty interesting. Okay, so this blade is drawing somewhere between 0.34 and 35 amps. Seems like the clamp meter can't really make up its mind. So, still not at the rated voltage or current yet. And in terms of the airspeed, what? I thought yeah. Let's go with 2 point. Well, it's going down a bit. Let's go with 2.5. That's what I saw for a brief moment. Seems like a good average value, because it went up to 3 point something at one point. That's insane. What? Okay, let's check the sound level on it. Same location, kind of at the edge of the table. No way. Let's go with 14 decibels. Isn't that what the original blade was? It sounds louder, but apparently this is telling me that it's just about as quiet as the original blades. I am kind of baffled. That is interesting. So these blade, or this 9-bladed 14-inch blade set is pretty much the quietest out of all of them. It's moving the most amount of air, and it's not the original, and even the blade pitch on here is not all that great, but I guess the blade count makes up for that. That is darn cool. I didn't expect that. Alright, so let's go with the last one, the 20-inch skinny bladed blade set. So last but not least, we have the 20-inch blade set. I'd be shocked if this is the best performer out of all of these. I doubt it, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this thing really gets that blade up to speed. I think more than the 96 Super and that 16-inch Westinghouse pedestal fan that I tested in the 2 earlier videos. Impressive. Okay, so definitely the highest current draw. We're at 0.37 amps, right where the motor is rated at. It's quiet, mainly due to the slow RPM. Doing the same thing, of course. Around 1.9 meters per second. So not the greatest wind speed, but that's kind of to be expected because this is putting a lot of load on the fan, or on the motor I should say. Let's check out the sound level. Doing the same thing, of course. Oh, 11 decibels. So it's the quietest, no doubt. So very interesting test here. So I guess the power of the motor really does have an influence on the outcome of these tests, because the more powerful the motor is, the easier it'll be able to handle these larger blades, and it'll be able to move more air if it's able to get them up to speed. So this motor, we definitely know it's got the power. So very interesting. I wish I had one of those very large industrial motors that I could hook these blades up to, but the trouble is a lot of those have much bigger shaft diameters. It's kind of a corresponding trend, you know, bigger motors, bigger shaft, smaller motors, smaller shaft, which can make sense obviously. So I don't think that'll be possible, but I'll see if I can get my hands on a fan or some kind of a motor that's a lot more powerful that can accommodate these blades. That'd be really cool, but we'll see if that even happens. Well, there it is, back with the original blades and the grills. And that's going to wrap up this comparison test. It was definitely an interesting one that yields some unexpected results. So I'll definitely do more of these, of course, in the future. If you guys have suggestions on what fans I should use for the future tests, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Now, I can't guarantee that the fans that you comment will be featured in a test video because, of course, the fan needs to be able to accommodate the blades because the hole size here is fixed, of course, and different fans have different motor shaft diameters. But just like this fan here, something like that, the shaft can't fit the blades, it won't make the test. But, you know, just comment down below if you guys have any suggestions. So anyways, that's going to be it for this one. So thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.